1 meter. Oh yeah, let's put this on the grill. As I mentioned in the last video, we went to Shanghai to see a play. It starred He Zhong. He is one of our favorite TV show hosts and used to teach Arabic-related courses at the prestigious Beijing Foreign Studies University. Talk about talent. Acting alongside him was Huang Duoduo, a promising young lady in her teens and daughter of a good actor and good cook. Since COVID prevention and vaccination measures have been successful so far, there was no seating restriction and it was a full house at Shangjuchang, the theater above, a venue exclusive to productions by Taiwanese director Stan Lai. After the show, we walked to this nearby Yakiniku restaurant, 后镇牛舌烧肉. Being in the bustling area of Xujiahui, we had a raft of dining options to choose from. But this place caught our attention because it totes ox tongue as a specialty. Ox tongue is a favorite food of ours, especially as such Japanese meat grillers. So we went there and we went wild. First off was the 特厚黑牛牛舌, extra thick black cattle ox tongue. I'm sure that's an allusion to the Wagyu breed Japanese black, but that'd be bollocks because I asked the waiter and he said the tongues came from local cattle. Never mind that, the key was extra thick. We've had thicker ox tongues in Japan, but these were some of the thickest we've seen in China. They were brushed with a light sauce, grilled whole, cut up, and finished by searing the cross sections. 美味しいですね. Next was the 后镇水花牛舌, 后镇's marbled ox tongue. You couldn't see the so-called marbling because we chose black truffle style, and thus, this came black and marinated. You can't tell visually if the finished products were overcooked and the exterior did look like supercharged crust, but you could tell through your nose and mouth. Of course it didn't smell burnt. The black truffle bouquet was obvious, really adding to the richness of the supposedly marbled ox tongues. It reminded me of pairing black truffle butter with big, fat pieces of ribeyes. And then the 原创一米牛舌, original meter-long ox tongue. That's right, 1 meter. Naturally, the tongue itself wasn't a meter. It was just butterflied into a long strip connected as a whole, sort of like the galbi in Korean barbecue. I confess it was gimmicky and I totally fell for it, but I thought, heck, I haven't had ox tongues for a while, so I'll get my full share today. Who knows when I'll eat ox tongue again? And a full share it was. In fact, it was more than I asked for. The 3 ox tongue dishes were wonderful on their own, but when put together and eaten one after another, it was a bit overwhelming, especially this meter-long tongue. Obviously, I wouldn't really measure its length, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and the portion was humongous. Toward the end, it also turned monotonous, even though it was grilled nicely, accompanied by pineapples, and had various condiments available on the table to add variety. Although this Yakiniku restaurant claims ox tongue as its specialty, beef was still the main staple on the menu. We had the 一品水花牛小排. Again, we see the descriptive term 水花, but this time we did lay our eyes on actual marbling. Yep, they were marbled and marbled beautifully. These slices came from the rib section of Australian Wagyu cattle, and there was no denying the quality from Dang'an. The short ribs, super tender. Lovely texture. Since ox tongues are quite high in fat content, and so too the Wagyu ribs, we definitely ate enough fat for the evening, so we had no qualms about ending the night with the cheaper but leaner 上水横膈膜. 横膈膜 literally means diaphragm, but it's often a general term for the flank steak, skirt steak, and probably also the hanger steak. Whichever steak it was, the diaphragm 横膈膜 tasted pretty good, as were the other dishes. So even though we went overboard with ordering and had an overdose of ox tongue, nothing was left to waste, meat, beer, or otherwise. As we departed, a huge crowd had gathered. Some of them were waiting for Yakiniku, others were in line for Shaokao Chinese barbecue next door at 大四路川. We ate at this barbecue restaurant in Suzhou just a few days ago actually. More about that in a later video. 再见!